members of our mastermind community here at Gen AI University shares wins, updates, insights, and more about what we're doing, what we're building, and what we're seeing in the world of AI. Of course, things change fast and aren't slowing down anytime soon. So this is our container to share amongst a smaller group inside of our community that meets live weekly. Nathaniel from Pickaxe is also on with us here. Nathaniel, we had kicked off the day with a Pickaxe demo, turned a GPT and Chat GPT into an actual Pickaxe studio during that time. And I know last month we also talked about MCPs, some of the future things that Pickaxe is building, and you guys just had a really big announcement raising some funds to continue building and developing. But I know that there may be some people on here as well that aren't familiar with Pickaxe, what you guys do. So great to see you, Nathaniel, first and foremost. Congrats on the raise. And yeah, we want to just share like the high level about who you are, what you're building at Pickaxe. And then I know we have a limited time here. I want to put the spotlight on Pickaxe first because it's such a powerful tool. And if you have any updates or insights about where you guys are heading, I'd love to hear.
Yeah, thanks so much. It's so cool to hear about this transformation from the GPT to a Pickaxe. For those of you that don't know, Pickaxe is really the easiest place to build AI businesses online in no code or in low code. And you can do that by basically just very much like building a GPT and sticking it into a storefront, a studio where you can sell access to it and control access to it. And we work with a lot of coaches and consultants, small businesses and medium-sized businesses using Pickaxe in a lot of different ways that are always surprising to me. But yeah, we just raised our seed round to hopefully bring Pickaxe to more people and make Pickaxe a lot better. Super excited about that and super excited to bring some of those benefits. We're hiring right now, so super excited to bring those out to folks. Yeah, and as far as updates and some really cool stuff that has happened even since we last talked, we've finally implemented these Notion and Google Docs connectors so you can have these dynamic knowledge bases powered by
Yeah, I saw that
changing
today for the first time. Yeah.
yeah, changing underlying information, which is really common. People have a set of knowledge that's constantly changing and evolving, and they want their AIs to stay up to date with that. And connected with that, now our website system also refreshes every day. So if there's updates to websites that you're pulling in data from, then Pickaxe can handle that.
Oh, that's great. And I know one of the things that we were talking about last time was the MCP integration and being able to do that. And on the last call, we were sharing the new Gamma API and how the new Gamma API inside of Zapier, you can connect it with a ton of different things. And so I'm curious, what now have you seen, or what are some of the ways that you've seen people that are building Pickaxe studios like using MCP? We don't have to get super detailed into the technical of it, but are there any use cases that are standing out that you're seeing people?
Yeah. On that note, we recently rolled out a Make and Zapier integration more formally, so it's a little bit easier to make those connections for certain things, which is, I think, really helpful for a lot of folks, just making that a bit easier. But really particularly with Nano Banana, but also with the Gamma API, with just some of this new technology, we've seen some really interesting new use cases. We've always had people building like website review and SEO review tools, but those have gotten a lot better recently now because they can actually see from the website and understand what's going on with the code, but also more just full stack applications where like for if we're doing a report, these government requests for proposals, these RFPs, I've recently seen in the past, I don't think you could really do it all at once, but with some of these new really long context window, big models, and with the new document generation systems in Pickaxe, I've seen people build systems that just knock it out in one go, which is super exciting. So those are a couple examples of things I've seen recently that have surprised me that probably wouldn't have been possible even 2 months ago with the technology that's just coming out.
Yeah, no, yeah, we all know how fast AI is developing, and you guys are now have more resources to continue developing and building this platform out. Is any insight into what the future looks like now with Pickaxe and what you guys are going to be building into the app as you continue like working with new customers, new clients, new use cases?
Right now, one big thing we're working on is we put in a feedback system, kind of like ChatGPT has, where you can say, hey, I like this answer, I didn't like this answer, whatever. And we're starting to slowly but surely automatically integrate that feedback into the builder so that you just go into the builder and boom, you're seeing all the negative feedback that your bot has gotten across any interaction, and you can just click a button to remediate and make improvements based on that feedback. So we're just seeing this cycle closing of, hey, on Pickaxe, you go on there, you put out a GPT, you put out a bot, take 10 minutes to do that first step. Don't worry too much about it, get it out there. But then getting folks really invested in making incremental improvements and making this thing really actually work for their customers as opposed to just putting out something that doesn't work. It's all in that tail end of that cycle. And so that's something we're working really hard on right now is essentially using that feedback system, using all the data we're collecting to use AI to help you improve the tool over time and make sure it actually works for the folks that are using it.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I love the stuff that you guys are building and how easy you make it to build these types of studios and also just integrate and consolidate everything. And I want to bring up a few of the other members of our community here that I know, I'm not sure, Steve, on your end, how much you've used Pickaxe, but I know Tyrese has used it quite a bit. And we're just going to be sharing some other ways that we're using and building different tools and workflows. Great to see you, Shelly, Steve, and Tyrese. And but Tyrese, I'd love if you don't mind kind of sharing maybe like some of your experience with Pickaxe too, because you built some pretty powerful tools and workflows in there just yourself that you think might give people some ideas about what's possible and what people are actually doing and building with it.
Yeah, I built an automation tool where, well, actually, it's not an automation tool. It's a tool that actually finds automations within a company's role. So if you have a role or a job that you're doing, it finds the parts of the job that can be automated. And so I used Pickaxe to build out that particular piece, and people just love it. And I also created another Pickaxe where it was for myself really. It was when I was laid off last year and I got into Pickaxe through AppSumo when you guys were first out, and I got with Mike and he helped me figure out how to actually build out a Pickaxe for myself where I could create a resume and a cover letter, and it would actually analyze the job first to see how well I fit in the first place before I even apply for anything. And then it created the cover letter and the resume to go with it, and it made it a lot faster to try to get work and whatnot. But yeah, I'm finding that if you can make a custom GPT, you can make a pickaxe. It's super simple, and I think that's the really great thing about it is that it's very intuitive. And even if you needed assistance, you can talk to Claude and say, "Hey Claude, this is not working quite like I want it to. Can you tell me what I need to add in here?" And it'll do it. So it's been really super that way. And I built out, I don't know, five, six different ones, and then depending on whether or not I decided to run with it. But pick out the Automation Goldmine and Perfect Fit are the two that have launched as a business, and so it's been really cool.
Yeah, I want to share one highlight on my end that I created a pickaxe with a partner that we started building at the end of last year. We started giving free access to it to help real estate agents close more listings that they would then go and sell and make a commission whenever they did sell. But it's a crowded market out there, a lot of noise in real estate. How do you stand out and are you the right agent to sell their house, basically? I want to read off a text that my partner sent me as an example, and as my camera dies from the day. Finding that 1 second. Cool. It said this one tool alone, and we built this tool in a Pickaxe studio. And then so we had it be a form that you could submit your information. And then you could also then, which I think is brilliant in terms of what you can do with Pickaxe, you can submit a form to have structured information in, and then you can use that form to seed the context of a chat thread so that you can continue to build out more and more information because it doesn't always have to stop whenever you like do a form. Sometimes you want to expand and build on information. Like I said, this one tool alone that takes less than 30 minutes every listing presentation has already generated well over 100K in additional commissions in about 3 months. Literally one tool we've got from you is now paid for all the training that we'll ever buy from you. And this is you talking about my partner for the rest of like our careers. Appreciate you so much. And that's from people taking the tool and actually going and doing this stuff with it. But it was such a specific use case and such a niche specific, like my partner knew this problem like the back of his hand. He knows what real estate agents are struggling with. And we worked together to build the pickaxe to make that possible. And that's just one use case, but these tools can be so powerful when they're used. And it's not always the biggest, fanciest workflow. It's not having the biggest, most prompty of the prompts. Like it's not having the coolest looking N8N workflow. Sometimes it's as simple as putting in one or two pieces of information at the right time to the right person to actually make a deal like close or to push the needle forward. And so that's just one use case I wanted to share and just say, Nathaniel, super excited to continue to use Pickaxe and support you guys and what you're building. I know that many of us use it as well on our end. And so thanks for coming on and sharing just a little bit about that. And I shared a link to for those that want to subscribe to Pickaxe inside of the chat. If you go to jnaiu.com/pickaxe, it'll activate a 10% off your first 3 months. And then, yeah, of course, like comment on this video. If you have questions about Pickaxe, the team is pretty responsive, and email as well if you reach out to them. Any
Yeah.
last words before we get to moving on, Nathaniel?
Just thanks so much for having me. It's always good to see the group that you're putting together. It's always a group of super interesting people. So excited to meet you guys all if you do end up coming and trying out Pickaxe a bit more, and love that text message. Always love to hear things like that. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks, Nathaniel. Awesome. Steve, Shelly, Tyrese, I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing anybody else here from the group. But yeah, we like coming off on the tail end of the summit today. And yeah, this is our time to just kind of like share like we do every week. Like, what are we doing in AI? How are we winning this week? And but before we do that, I'd love to also give you guys time to kind of share a little bit about who you are, who you serve, and how you help people in business, because I know that you all work with specific types of clients and add a lot of value in a lot of ways. Steve or Shelly, if either one of you wants to go first, let's kick things off with the yeah.
Okay, I'll go just because Shelly gave me the nod, so we won't be talking over each other. Hey, everybody, my name is Steve Carey. And yeah, I come from a background of tech throughout my career, spent a lot of my career translating technical things to people who really don't care about tech or have actually better priorities to focus on. So they need help. And AI is one of those pieces of tech that everybody knows they need, and they might be scared of it. They might be resisting it. They might just not know how it works. A lot of fear, uncertainty, doubt. And my job is to go work with small, medium-sized businesses to help them start to implement AI assisted workflows and tech to help them prepare so they can be competitive in the years to come. And in some cases, it's just trying to keep up with the workload because they can't hire people. Some cases it might be because they're trying to grow. It doesn't matter. Most businesses need some type of AI and automation assistance, and they probably just don't know where to start. So that's what I do. And I help a lot of people just try to figure out the easy next steps to take. And I think one of the comments that we just heard Darby talk about is it's usually not the big glamorous N8N workflows or the big multi-mega prompts. It's usually the unglamorous things in the background, operation wise, that removes a headache, removes a big stumbling point where they just can't do more in the day and frees people up. And I start there and then we go. So it usually ends up saving time, removing headaches, ultimately leading to making more money. But anyway, that's my business and what I do. And I'm, yeah, in the process of rebranding my business so it's more AI centric. And I'm going to build my own company in a kind of AI first model. So document as I go. I could go on from there, but I'll pause and stop and then let somebody else talk about themselves. But happy to be here and good to meet all of you on the call.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. And for those that want to look at a little bit more about what Steve has done and like in terms of some content that we've created on the community channel, if you just look up Steve and Descript and MindPal, I think it was, you had a really cool workflow that you shared on our YouTube channel that it was a content production workflow. And Steve has a really dialed in system for helping people getting their content out there using AI tools to help streamline and augment the process. So you guys can go check that video out on our channel. Really powerful workflow that Steve put together a video on. So thanks for that, Steve.
Yeah.
Shelly, great to see you.
Hi, good afternoon. Happy to be here. My name is Shelly Berman-Rubera. I am the president of Small Business Results. I'm located in Newton, Massachusetts. I own the United States trademark for my program, The Truth About Succeeding in Small Business, although now we are changing it to, or adding, The Truth About Succeeding in Small Business AI Enhanced. And I am really good at business development, messaging, organization, anything on the business development end, helping people really articulate who they are and what they offer. And I'm good at AI, as they say, better than 90%, but I'm not anywhere near the people in my fabulous mastermind group. And so being here has allowed me to partner with Tyree, with Steve, Darby, to take my knowledge and bring them with me so that we have everything I do now has an AI component to it. I just think the world is very challenging, but I think that this is it makes you excited to go to work, just excited at what the possibilities are. So I'm happy to be here.
Happy to have you here, Shelley. I know last month when we were sharing our wins from the mastermind, I was trying to get that video out onto YouTube, and for some reason, it was just like that section of the video was just not working. And
Which video are you talking about?
for this session from the last summit, I was trying to
Oh,
get
yeah,
it
yeah.
out, and because we were sharing like some of the tools that we were all using in our businesses that were like the 80/20 of stuff that was just like super like low hanging fruit wins. One of them across the board, I think, was Gamma, was one of the favorite ones. There was like the obvious ChatGPT and Claude. And I think and Perplexity was another big one. And then Fathom was another really big one for those that aren't using an AI note taker to join in on calls. I know we don't have them joining this call because it's a private closed session, but for any client call or anything of that nature, having a Fathom or any like an AI note taker that you know is going to be there to help capture the insights and the moments that you may or may not miss, super helpful to have. And I don't know how Fathom makes it free for pretty much everybody, but I still have a free account and I record literally every call with them. So I'm sure they make money plenty of other ways, but it's been a staple in terms of my AI note takers for a while. Again, there's
For
a
a
lot of
million
other ones
things.
there,
I
but there's a
said that, you can say, I said that. No, I don't think you said that. You can go back to your Fathom recording,
yeah.
grabbing the notes from your conversation. I've been able to turn them into proposals that literally would have taken me a week to do prior. Turn it, please do this. This is the organization I want. Here's the conversation, like perfection.
Yeah, and what we were just talking about with Gamma is their new API, how we could maybe even integrate, and I haven't done this yet, but like a Fathom into that too. So you get done with a Fathom call. How can you help that get processed and maybe turned into certain types of presentations and following a format? Has anyone here experimented with the Gamma API, Steve, Shelley, or Tyrese yet? And
No, but I'm glad you brought it up because I think the use case that you just described is one that's on my mind, which is really simple if you think about how powerful it is. You have a conversation with a client and they want a proposal from you the next day, and you have a template proposal framework, and you just take the transcript and send it through API to Gamma, and Gamma is your proposal generator, the output. That can happen instantly, and now you get something you can just edit, and the clients are blown away. So that is such a, like right now I'm doing something similar, but it's copy and paste. So you think about how that can not only save time, but just free up your mind to be able to deliver a really good proposal without all the headache of opening up a new PowerPoint document, the layout, adding a template. Those all take time. And you usually put that type of stuff off because there's usually something really important to do ahead of time. So if you can just get that out of the way, you can go right to editing and out to the client, and they're happy.
I'll add one thing. One of the things I've been doing that is so successful, which is not to hold back, but instead of saying, okay, I'll do that for you, just literally, let's do it right now and open up chat or open up Gamma and right in front of the client. If you want to sell something, like they're sitting next to you, they're on Zoom and they're like, wow, are you going to be able to show me how to do that? So it's really just giving from your heart what you already know and not be afraid that if you show them, they won't hire you. Just show them.
That's a really powerful idea. And I've seen you talk about that. I've seen you do it in videos because we've interviewed each other. But it takes a certain amount of courage to be able to do that with a prospect that you want to hire you. But I think you're absolutely right. If you give and you're a little bit vulnerable at that time because you're showing them how you make a proposal, but they're asking for that. And you're demonstrating how you get it done. And then they see the value in action. It's a kind of what's the term, a self-licking ice cream cone. Totally works. And it's totally possible. I don't think it's that hard. I'm really motivated and excited to test out the new API with Gamma because from right now it'd still be the copy and paste workflow, which isn't bad either. It's just, but to do it via API would be next level.
I think most of us here on this call, and I venture to say that follow us on YouTube, work with small businesses as well in helping implement these tools. And like the more that you can just demonstrate and amplify like the value that you can give with this, I think it's just going to open up more and more opportunity just to provide more value at the end of the day. And there's a lot of really simple wins that tools like Gamma can provide, like right out the gate, that it can be easy to think that everyone knows how to do it if you're in the weeds doing it all the time. But then look, like the average person is not going to be as savvy as like the average person that understands how to just use Gamma alone to create presentations like that, and sharing and showing even the process behind it and really open up people's minds to even what's possible. You don't have to tell and give away like all the secret sauce necessarily. There's so much to give and to share and to add value with these tools. I want to check the
Darby,
comments
can
real
I
quick
tell
to make
my
sure.
favorite
Yep.
story? So
Go ahead. Yeah.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
So a client came on and she was literally crying. I can't do this. It's too much. Payroll, my house, this, that, my Airbnb, like just on and on. I said, wait, stop talking. I opened up chat and I said, okay, now you can talk. I said, don't organize your brain, just dump everything like a to-do list. And she did it. And I asked chat to organize them by category and priority. It spit out the most, I couldn't have done it really. Grouped it by administrative, technical, staff, it without much information. She was so excited. She said to me, send that to me. I now know more about my own company than I did before. It was just brilliant.
Love
Cry
that.
for 5 minutes and then we're going to go to work.
I see another comment from Stacy here. I think that's on a similar note where the great for getting insights. I think this was commented when we were talking about maybe Fathom, maybe not, but for getting insights to opportunities that you might be missing in terms of the problems that you can solve for those that you meet with. And so, yeah, take a Fathom recording, take the transcript, or that maybe you just missed right in the conversation. Maybe you missed a moment or two that like really could have stood out, but you were in the conversation, you were thinking something else, or it didn't jump out to you at that time. Stacy says she takes that transcript, runs it through chat or Perplexity, then asks it to give me feedback on how I could have showed up and what I may have missed. Again, boom, you can do that. And like Fathom is like instant, right? Like you get off a call with your Fathom, you can go right to that transcript, and then like within 60 seconds, you can have a chat, a Claude, a Perplexity thread opened up and analyzing that conversation, providing insights and feedback. And Steve, we were talking about ways that you can win on the sales front that are like super low lift, but maybe obvious to some, but just not apparent if you don't know what these tools are even capable of. You have, whether it's a Pickaxe or a custom GPT or whatever it might be, if you train it on your company's information or knowledge, and then you take that sales transcript, even asking it questions live while you're on a call. Oh, prospect just said this, like what are some ways that I could approach this, or what am I missing here? Having that as like a sales coach right there by the side helping you out with this, super powerful, super simple. And again, it's not like it doesn't, it takes the cost of a $20 a month subscription to just have access to these types of tools. And now with the integration of MCP into Claude, into chat, it's just opening up the game for being more and more effective and more impactful. Like again, between like last month and this month, like ChatGPT announced officially that they now support more MCP server with Zapier and that type of thing. And we were talking about if if you do nothing else but set up a Zapier MCP server and then you use Zapier to connect with all of the other apps that you use, you can immediately just have one point of contact that can connect with your Salesforce or your Go High Level or HubSpot. And some of these you might have direct connections inside of Chat or Claude, but that's just going to be the norm, or it's not. And you're going to be like, how is that company doing this and accomplishing all of this stuff versus what are we doing right here? A lot of it is just going to be like the fundamentals, I think, is key things that you don't want to miss right now. I hope that everybody here is on top of it because you're here, you're already ahead of a lot of people that are just sitting on the couch eating potato chips and watching The Bachelorette or Love Island or whatever and ignoring this stuff, right? But even just being aware of what some of these tools can do can help whenever, even if not like today, right now in your business, we say, oh, wait, I see this problem. Oh, I've heard about this thing being a potential solution. How can I put two and two together? And if not, ask the right questions to AI will help you get closer to the right answers.
Even in terms of sales, if you create the situation summary in one of the AIs, I'm about to meet this client. Here's what's going on with them. Can you give me 10 questions to ask them to lead to my close? Then you just follow and ask the questions, because I was also going to share something. There's a book called The Coaching Habit, Say Less and Ask More. It's by Michael Bungay Steiner, Stanier. Learn to be a coach. And that's how you massage the AIs. That's how you get more from your clients, that we learn to ask way more. And if you're asking way more and you're putting it into one of the note takers, you have an easy win on the other end of it. You've gotten what you needed to propose them to them.
Yeah, and I want to, Stacy, I know you've been, thank you for the questions and everything. You've been with us all day today, bringing up comment, which is a relatively new thing from, I believe it's Perplexity, right? Is comment their browser that they have? You're sharing that. Has anyone used comment? And it's awesome. If you don't know, in Firefox, would you be open to sharing a little bit about your experience with comment and
Oh, absolutely.
how
I
you're
would love
using it?
to. I would love to. Let me just turn the music down. Sorry. Yeah, it's interesting. So yes, to answer your question. Oh, I forgot. I'm at a stand-up desk. Okay, transparency. I got to pull the desk back up because you see
Going
the
down.
parts of me you don't want to see. Good thing I was fully dressed. Let's just say that. So now I just stand up desk up. And by the way, that's a great tip. Stand up as much as you can. It's good for your health. So yes, the comment assistant is amazing. It's similar to Agent inside ChatGPT. Has anyone used Agent in ChatGPT? Agent mode, yeah. So it's similar to that, but I like it better because you still keep your AI window open, so you can be in Perplexity or anything else for that matter, and then have comment open on the side, and so Perplexity or the AI tool you're using is like the analyst and the researcher. But your agent or your comment assistant, when you're using the browser, is more of the doer, the person that you can actually tell it to do things. For example, I just did a video. I have a Loom. I literally could open it up, or I can just share my screen and show you. But let me just tell you, you can tell it to, what did I do yesterday? I told it, oh, I have some reservations that came up, and I actually opened up the browser window for where I booked the reservations. And then I said in the assistant, because it's already connected to my email, my Gmail, my calendar, all of those things, it has permission. And I said to it, take those top 2 reservations and add them to my Google Calendar. Boom, it did it just in seconds. You also I sometimes have it, I'll say, if I do a search or a query within Perplexity or even in ChatGPT, if I have it open and the assistant is beside it, all I then say is, take the information from this and create this, or take that information and put it inside a doc in my Google Drive. I can tell it what folder to put in. Sometimes it gives you a little pushback and you have to say it maybe a little differently, but literally you can have it do things. And the cool thing is, because the other day I did a Loom and I was having it go into my Fathom, as a matter of fact, and I told it to search for any of the meetings that either said my company name, team meetings, or team sessions, because I had 2 different titles over the months, and find those items. And it did. Copy the transcripts, because in the past, sometimes I haven't been gathering them and I was looking for something specifically to go over with my team. So I said, copy those transcripts out of there and put them in a document. Now, I ran into an issue because I was trying to have it open up multiple documents, one for each month over the last few months, et cetera, et cetera. So I had a little bit of a challenge. So I brought it back down to just do one document, a little easier. But the point is, it can do things. And the cool thing is you can have multiple browser windows open. And this is why you see me all over the place, I have a monitor here and 3 here in my laptop and 2 side monitors and 1 up top. So I could have it running over here, because occasionally, just like an agent, it may stop and say, I need you to click something or give me a password or get input. But the point is, it can be over here working. And even if it needs you, I liken it to, you have someone who's doing work for you and they occasionally need to ask you a question, then you stop and you answer the question, but they're still doing work so you can do other work at the same time. It is amazing. And I highly recommend it.
What stands
And
out
if anyone
to me,
has questions, I'm
Stacy,
happy to answer.
what stands out to me, just to comment on it from something I've observed with the people that are really working with AI in this way, where it's a co-pilot, it's a co-creator, it's an agent that's working with you, the understanding that like it's going to mess up just like a human's going to mess up. Everyone says, oh, but AI like hallucinates. Have you seen how many times that people hallucinate?
First,
Like
they lie just because, on purpose, because that's what they choose to do. which is worse than someone making a mistake.
Yeah. And so it's like, how are you working with these tools? What's the outcome that you can, like, what you're going towards, and how clear are you on the steps to getting there? And if you can't explain it to an AI system, and even Jeff was talking about this on the other calls, if you can't explain the steps that need to be taken, or at least the outcome you're going towards, like, it should come as no surprise that AI could go do something fast, but it might end up 1,000 miles in the wrong direction. The
Right.
human operator here can't be overstated in the importance in this role. Like, who is operating the agents, who is orchestrating them, who is keeping an eye on them? That person might be you if you're a solo founder, a solopreneur type person, a coach running maybe a very small team. But if you have someone on your team that's also coming in and it's also building out these tools, like how they operate and understanding what the tools are designed to do, where are the points that they could like very easily fail? If something needs to get updated, how are you going to update and give it the right context? Is it updating context automatically? Like we talked about with Pickaxe, one of the limitations, like even just a few months ago, is that you needed to like re-upload information from the knowledge base into the AI brain to know what was like current. Now they've got integration with Google Drive, integration with Notion, so that if you update it inside of this source of information, the AI is going to naturally start knowing that. But these things can change so fast. You have to be keeping up with what are these tools capable of. No, not next at the end of the quarter, probably every week, every month, have your own check-ins and be willing to disrupt yourself in this process to know, okay, maybe that workflow is a little outdated, but what did I learn by putting that workflow together that I can now apply into the next thing and continue to build and continue to optimize and streamline it. But again, human operator, you're not just going to make a wish and have all these things magically happen. Not yet, anyways. We'll check back in next week.
Yeah, for sure. Can I add just
Go ahead.
one thing to clarify what I did put in the chat so no one's confused? What I was saying was Comet is ultimate for this right now. And even before I started using Comet, I use different browsers for different clients and different work. So Firefox actually has an option for you to put on the side of your screen an AI assistant, just like you could have your bookmarks open on the side of some browsers. So in Firefox, you can put the AI assistant of your choice, and that ChatGPT or whatever you're using, just by putting a URL in or choosing it, and still have it beside any other page you're on. And that can be very useful. It's like Google, but we don't use Google that way anymore, although they just changed that yesterday now with the AI built into it fully. But you could just open it up and have them side by side. And it is a great way to work, even if it doesn't have the level of assistance that the Comet has in it. So just wanted to put that out there too, so that it's a more useful way to work as well.
Appreciate the clarification and just sharing the workflow, Stacy. Super cool to see how everyone else is using these tools. And I think I need to add a few more screens and monitors to my setup to get on that level.
Oh, Rachel, here he goes.
Yeah, we're going to Best Buy.
Just order something on Amazon. The top one is just a TV monitor that I watch Apple TV on too. But also the others are just one of those ones you slip on top of your laptop, because my desktop is my laptop because I'm so mobile. So that's what it is. Just an FYI, you can slip it right on top of your laptop if you're using a laptop, and it gives you 2 extra screens.
Right on. Okay. Thank you so much, Stacy. From the Mastermind crew, any wins from the week, client wins or internal wins with any tools that
I got a message today from the big proposal that they are making their final choices and that I should hear next, like in the beginning of October. So I can just share, I was reached out to put a bid into an entire city that's got a grant to help 12 micro enterprises grow. And they were only taking 3 bids, and we'll see, but that's a win. We're getting closer. And did close a client with an AI enhanced version. So it's happening. Some of the stuff also that's coming out, like you just have to, I sent you, Darby, something that came out today about Descript. There's so much new every day. So to me, if we just do that, they're wins. You just keep enhancing your toolkit.
Yeah, Descript is one of my go-tos for video editing, and their Underlord is sometimes it's weird. Some days it just is, I don't know what happened and woke up on the wrong side of the bed. But some days it locks in. Just for doing simple edits, I don't do like crazy fancy stuff for any of our videos, but just even like adding in super subtle transitions, some in zoom out, adding captions, doing some basic edits. It's super helpful. I don't know if anyone else here uses Descript for editing or putting out videos. I know some of us here on this in this group do, but I find it to be like it's just been my go-to for years and a bit of a learning curve, but once you get the flow of it, it can basically handle anything you need to make videos for YouTube or social. And I used it to build a commercial for a live game show event that I hosted last week and learned a lot in putting that commercial together with Descript, but also just getting stuff out there. There was AI that helped. There was also very technical me doing stuff that I had the tools and stuff at my disposal to get done. If anyone here is looking for like editing support, I definitely don't offer that for other people. Not trying to become a professional editor for other stuff, but it's enough to make me dangerous for my own stuff whenever the idea is there. So that's a tool that I love using, and their AI is getting better. But Steve.
Oh, yeah. Hello. Yeah, I'll just echo all of that. I love Descript, and it's the good and bad is it's almost like learning a new product every month or two because they come out with new features and it changes your workflow. But it is getting simpler to do so many of the simple edits, and I find myself using Underlord more and more where I used to do manual edits because it was fast, and now I'm just going through that process, and it's faster to go back and correct the mistakes that I don't want versus just doing them all. So it's just a philosophical switch in how I approach that product. They're really strange. Win for me this week, I've got just a couple of really good prospect new client engagements. So I'm testing a new business model that isn't really profound, but it's just more based off of doing work that I described at the beginning of the call. So offering a paid discovery, really short, and then which goes right into phase two of a paid implementation. But the key thing here is paid discovery. And the kind of thing that I'm testing out to see if it really works is really focusing on small, super tangible implementations that do something. It, that might not be glamorous, but it's just something tangible that they can say, oh, wow, this now works. This is a big deal, changes how we operate. And they get a taste of what AI and or AI assistance and automation can do. It opens up their mind to the possibilities. And the thing that I'm testing out is like a 2 week, just 2 week blocks as a way to make it super simplified to the client. Hey, we're going to do a 2 week discovery. It's going to be X amount. And here's what we're going to do. And make it so easy to say yes that they don't care. The reason they say no is probably because they don't like me. They're not ready to do anything. And that's fine. So anyway, that's my hypothesis. I'm going to be testing that out. And I've got a client that I have to go to right after this call to go save. And they're a client that typically doesn't like to spend money. So it's one of those things where I'm going to try this out and say, hey, if you're already spending money on me, but let's not spend less, let's spend more, but let's do a 2 week block and do something. So you feel like you're getting value out of the tools that I'm bringing in. A lot of people will buy a product and it just sits on their back shelf. So anyway, that's one win, just better client engagements. And number two is more of a AI automation win. I've had this implementation process on the back burner for a while, and it's automating media uploads to high level. I don't know if there's any other high level users in the group, but one of the things that I use for a few of my clients is their social planner. I want to help them schedule social posting at a month at a time. And just like any social planner, it has a template that you can upload. So I made an automation that creates a CSV that goes right from Airtable to a CSV so I can upload all the stuff into high level and it just bulk uploads. And so that was one milestone, but the pain for me was uploading all the media files into their platform as well. And then getting all the URLs back into Airtable. And I know this is like behind the scenes, but it's one of those unglamorous operational details that make a huge impact. So I figured out the API method to get all of the files uploaded through automation, and it returns now a URL. That was the big thing that the API didn't do. So now that works, and it unlocked all these other possibilities. So I spent a number of hours, but this is going to pay myself back in dividends over the months to come. because now I've got a process where I can create a CSV file that's got all of the things that go into the social post, and it could be a month of social stuff across all their different platforms at a pretty granular level. And I hate social posting, but I like helping clients figure out what to post. So giving them like an AI chatbot, and they can figure out what they're going to post, and I get that into a spreadsheet and then schedule it. That's really powerful. So that's a big win just to get that kind of dialed in. It makes me feel like I've got a new product service I can offer, because everybody feels like they need to do social posting. Whether they do or don't doesn't matter. They feel like they do, and it's a headache for nearly everybody. So if I can automate that for them, that's another little product that just makes people feel really good. So anyway, that's my win. Just more no code, low code automation stuff. That was done in Make, by the way. And my process there is to build things in Make because it's a little easier for me, at least in my brain. But I'm also going to translate these to N8N when it makes sense. But anytime there's like decision, logic, and flow, I'm going to try to go into N8N. It's a learning curve on that is a little steeper. So I try to build first and validate and Make. And maybe it just stays there because it works too. But the agency can get an N8N and do something clever there. It opens up more possibilities. So anyway, that's it for me, or that's part of it for me. I'll stop.
I had a couple of wins this past week too. One was with Shelly, a big win actually with Shelly, and we put one of her clients into an automation. So that was really nice. And then the second win that I had, and in fact, this morning I had an unexpected call from the Ohio Apex Accelerator that I've been working with to get their training done with data security. Yeah, they signed me up for a keynote for November the 20th, and then also for 5 client webinars to talk about how government can use AI with data in mind. Because just at last week, actually, I think it was Wired that had an article about how the new hack now is that you have a normal document that comes through from let's say you signed up for AT&T. AT&T sends you a document that says, here's your bill, or what it might just be just garbage, but you open it because there's nothing else in there. But you don't understand that in that document, you actually have in 1 point font, you might have a markdown code in there that allows ChatGPT the next time you go in to go and find all your API keys, all your passwords, everything, and it takes it out of there without you ever even knowing. And then that is the scariest thing I've ever read. And I thought, the document will never have anything there that you can really mitigate. And the solution that Wired had put into their article was simply that anytime you download a document, to put it into a separate folder, and then you go and find it, if whether or not it's good or not, and then you can bring it into your sphere of knowledge. Otherwise, you are opening yourself up to some weird person that's just going to take all your information. Oh, I posted, actually, I see that it says, where is this article? I posted that in LinkedIn, actually. It was just my last post that I did. I can get it for you right now.
Yeah, because that's scary. I do a lot to help seniors in terms of scams, but this one I haven't heard of yet, so that's a bit scary.
Yeah, and it's just sitting there in white 1 point font, and it's a simple markdown code that allows, and it only triggers ChatGPT at the moment to, as soon as you get in on ChatGPT and are doing any kind of search or whatever, it knows to be activated, and then that's how it goes and gets into all your stuff. And that's been the hardest thing about working with government contractors, is that how do you keep your AI information safe when you're using AI? Because you are sharing quite a bit of your knowledge base, meaning your drive, your folders, whatever it is. And so you really have to be careful, and it's getting harder and harder to do that. If you're using the API, information is not shared. Actually, no, this actually does go bypass that too, by the way, Tylen, I see that you put the thing. Yeah, that's
No, I was just sharing, and in general, you are correct. And if something gets access, it's no different than if you post your API keys to GitHub and there's scripts for that. But I was just also sharing, there's this perception that if you just use ChatGPT, right? So if you just use the interface, and I believe they even have options to not use your data, but if you use the API specifically, if there are projects created behind it, and this is for almost all the platforms, they have zero data retention policies. So none of your information is logged. And there's other platforms that specifically have a layer of privacy for that, even before you do something, let's say advanced, like using Amazon specifically to set that up. But a lot of people don't know you can get that from OpenAI for free and stuff like that if you're using the API. And it depends on, for example, if you use a product, let's say for Gamma, I'm not putting them on blast. I don't know what their agreement is with zero data retention, but they have that ability. If we use it, nothing is logged whatsoever. But most people don't know those things.
But see, the really weirdo part here is that it's not ChatGPT that's the culprit. It is the code that
Yeah,
allows you to
the
go
script.
into your folder, grab the stuff, and then send it
Prompt
off.
injecting in those things.
Yes, that's
Exactly.
so that's the conundrum here. And it's pretty, yeah, it's scary. I don't know what to say, but I read that and I went, oh my God, what the hell?
I want to
Certainly.
circle
Yeah.
back for a second to what happened with Tyrese and I, because about a year ago, Darby and I came together. We really both love the concept of co-creation, finding someone that has different talents and you bring them together. This client of mine has developed 28,000 followers in Instagram. And he called me and he wants to build a community. He does not want Kajabi. He does not want Circle. And one of the good news, bad news is this guy's very smart. He's very smart. He's a chiropractor. And so he wants to build a community. So Tyrese, as the builder, we are, not I on the technical end, building him a community. And if we convert 3% of his 28,000, which is 1,000 people, at $37 a month, he'll be making $444,000 for the year, just 1,000 people. And what he's doing in the community is very unique and really fabulous. And if we know that community and relationships, for me, I believe it's the number one marketing strategy is people. And I said to him, and then he has his appointments, which he's booked through October, and then he sells plenty of supplements. So I said to him, Sam, you're going to be making $1 million a year. And he said to me, oh no, way more than that. You're a smart person and you have the right people behind it. But that community idea, like what Darby has done, I think is really the only way we smaller people can build. That's the only way we can scale, is to gather people.
And of course, that's why we do these summits, to help the community stay on top of things. I'd love to hear, as we're coming at the end of the day, a lot of people have been with us since we kicked off this morning. Thank you for being here and being a part of the live stream for the day. I certainly hope that you got value out of it and some things that you can take away and put into action right away. I'd love to hear, even if it's just a sentence or two in the comments before we sign off. What was one takeaway that you got from today that you're going to go and put into action? My only ask, again, I don't think we've actually sold anything on today's call, is to just subscribe to us on YouTube. I will be sending an email out for those that want early access to all of the replays. And the link for that is on the Luma, where anybody here registered, so you can find those details. But yeah, just stay in touch, subscribe, and I'd love it if you could just share one key takeaway that you got value out of and that you're going to go put into practice, because all ideas are great, but execution is where everything actually happens. Stacy.
Yes. So one of the things that I often say is I'm not as young and hot as I look. I'm seasoned and marinated, but not done yet. And I say all that to say I've been in business for over 40 years. I started right out of high school. And you can always keep learning things. And nowadays, I used to know everything, right, when it came to tech and innovation. I don't anymore because there's way too many things to learn. So for everybody's benefit, I just want to say that even today, you think that you're in a room of people and you think everybody knows about this or that or the other thing. I learned about Pickaxe today, which I wasn't aware of. And we can always learn something. I'm saying that more so to make everyone understand that you have value, that there are people around you, people who follow you, who listen to you, who don't know what you know. And we take everything for granted that we know, whether it's tools or execution, the way we do it, we do processes and systems. We think it's not a big deal because we're so close to it. So I'm just sharing it as a way of encouragement to use what you have and to know that there is somebody, and if you use the right marketing tools, you will attract the right people towards you, and people want what you have to offer. So thank you for having me. I always say be aligned, be productive, and be maximized. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. I see John sharing the client discovery call that advises prospects with quantified potential benefits in doing business and also creating your own GPT. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, Fathom client discovery call, quantifying potential benefits, super low hanging fruit type of win, but super powerful and impactful when applied appropriately. And then, yeah, Stacy, it's great that you got onto after today. I'm looking forward to seeing what you build with it. Super powerful tool. And I don't know the exact number. It was like 3 point something million that they just raised for their series round, announced a few days ago. So, that they have more resources to keep developing and bringing more tools and more resources inside of that platform. And of course, Gamma, big fans of Gamma here.
And I can also say that Gen AI University and Darby Rollins, for me, they're stars. You need a trusted resource, and being a part of his community and learning from Darby. And we've just attracted great people. So if you're looking for one solid place of integrity and literally techniques that you can apply right away, I highly encourage you to join Gen AI University. It's just been a win for me.
Thank you, Shelley. So glad to hear that. And for those that are interested in joining, we do have a free section of our community at geniu.com. And there is membership inside once you join the community, but that's just the first step of getting in there. And we also have some higher level programs that are much smaller in terms of people in them, but intentionally, so that we can give everyone a more intimate experience of support along those lines. And we have some other announcements that are going to be coming out here that aren't public just yet here over the next few weeks. But yeah, Steve just dropped his YouTube channel link in here. Go ahead and follow Steve on YouTube. If you enjoy this type of content, make sure you do subscribe to us on YouTube. That's where we repurpose a lot of this material. And if you want more access, more connection with those inside of the community, then geniu.com is where you find us. And with all that said, I see your question, Stacy, wondering who Pickaxe's competitors are. I don't know off the top of my head. One is coming to mind. I think it's something to do with lemonade, but I don't know the name of it off the top of my head. And I don't really use one of their competitors at this
I asked it. I only wanted to know in order to compare it to understand better what it does. Because Bolt. I know Bolt. So just curious.
I wouldn't consider Bolt a competitor.
No.
If you really wanted to recreate a version of Pickaxe for yourself and that you were dead set on that, like maybe you could use Bolt to do it. Lemonade was the one that I think was probably one of the closer, more comparable competitors to it. So yeah, check them out and see what's out there. And of course, if you join the community, feel free to shoot me a direct message inside of there. I'm happy to chat with those as well.
Just one thing about the Pickaxe, if you are making custom GPTs, it's really exactly like that. 100%. So
the problem that Pickaxe solves is basically monetization of custom GPTs, because most people don't know how to make custom actions to connect to their Stripe account and give all these instructions and things like that. Chip AI would be a competitor to Pickaxe. Same thing and stuff like that. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with Chip, but yeah, go check them out and see the thing. But yeah, it definitely solves a problem that I know people have. I know I have the same problem, and making it easy to monetize these tools and not have to go and rebuild your own. With all that said, we are right here at the top of the hour, wrapping up this session of the September Scale with AI Summit Series 2025. We've got one more live summit on the books for October. So make sure you're subscribed and join our community for updates when that schedule gets announced. And last but not least, I hope everybody here has a great rest of the week, enjoys the weekend. And as we say, keep calm and AI on. I'll see you guys on the other side.
See you. Thank you, Darby.
Cheers, y'all.